Hello and welcome to my 30-minute Yin Yoga class. So I've got some music on in the background here if you would like to. You can place your own playlist on, otherwise you can just sit and enjoy the silence while we practice the Yin Yoga poses. We look at focusing on the connective tissues. We try to stretch them through using props and gravity. And so for today's class, we'll just be using gravity. And so with that, we want to release the tension from the muscles so that we are able to access the connective tissues to give them a deeper stretch. And today we're going to be focusing on hips and lower back. So our first pose today, we're going to be walking our legs out in front. So we can just gently bend and straighten the legs, moving the synovial fluid in the joints. And then we're going to slowly walk the legs out until they're straight. You can move the knees up and down just to feel the muscles, feel the tension, and then just letting them drop. We want the feet to fall forward naturally, and we want to sit up nice and tall through the chest. When we sit up nice and tall through the chest, you might feel your hip flexors start to engage to help pull you up. And so what we're going to do is walk the hands down the legs, allowing the upper body to fold over the legs. And with this, we want to slowly release the hip flexors and just allow gravity to pull the upper body forward. So here you can drop the chin to the chest, allowing the head to fall forward. You can walk the hands out either on the sides of the legs, or you can hold the ankles as you fall forward. Taking in a couple of deep breaths, in through the nose and out through the mouth. If you struggle with folding forward and the hamstrings are really tight, you can sit yourself up against the wall and just allow the head to roll forward. So keeping the hands extended out in front. Begin to scan the body, searching for tension in the legs, allowing any tension in the hamstrings, in the thighs or calves to let go. Allowing the connective tissues to stretch and creep further forward with each breath. With Yin Yoga, we hold the poses for a longer period of time. Because we're looking at gauging the connective tissues, it's more difficult to do. So we do it for a longer period of time, concentrating on the muscles, concentrating on letting the body let go. You can also focus here on the upper back, allowing the arms to hang from the shoulders, allowing them to drop. And as they drop, feeling the body folding deeper forward. If you've entered today's class with any thoughts on your mind, now's the time to let them go as well with the tension in the body. You can imagine the thoughts floating off on the breath, or imagine them dissolving. And we're going to let the mind settle into the body, allowing it to feel the stretch. Two more breaths here, really dropping that tension out. Noticing how the body is creeping forward, folding a little deeper. And then we're going to slowly walk the hands back towards the upper body as we lift up through the chest, rolling the shoulders. We can now gently bend and straighten the knees and ankles again. Big shoulder rolls, just releasing through the body. We're now going to bend through the left knee, taking the left foot to the base of the spine, extending the right leg still. So once again, you can bend and straighten through the leg and through the knee, just moving them up and down, releasing the tension, allowing the feet to fall forward. So here we're going to fold along the right leg. So once again, you can walk the hands out on either side of the leg or onto the ankle, allowing the elbows to drop, the chin to drop to the chest. Taking in a few breaths here. So in this pose, you might start to feel the left hip beginning to stretch, an extension through the left lower back and the right hamstring. Again, focusing on that breath. Deep breath in. And as you exhale, dropping any tension out of the shoulders, out of the back, allowing it to stretch forward. Starting to tap into the body, noticing where you can feel the stretch. Noticing if you can feel the body creeping further forward, the connective tissues through the back and through the hip, allowing you to fold deeper. With Yin Yoga, we're looking for stillness. We're looking for the body and the mind to be still. Taking in 2 more breaths here. And then slowly walking the hands back towards you, lifting up through the chest. Again, you can give a nice shoulder roll. You might like to take the right hand to the left knee, left hand behind the body and twist, lengthening through the spine, shoulder blades down the back. And then rotating back to center, straightening through the left leg. You might like to bend and straighten through the knees and ankles, releasing any tension that you might be feeling in the body. And then keeping the left leg extended, we're going to bend through the right knee, taking the right foot to the base of the spine. So again, a couple of shoulder rolls, moving the knees up and down, just releasing any tension through the hips. And then we can begin to walk the hands out on either side of the left leg, folding forward. So we're going to allow the upper body to drop, to hang over the lower body, relaxing the left foot, dropping the chin to the chest, taking in a couple of deep breaths as the body begins to settle. This time feeling the stretch through the lower right side. You might feel the stretch through the right hip, through the left hamstring. Again, coming back to the body, noticing what you can feel. Noticing any tension that you can feel within the body and allowing it to drop. Observing if the mind has wandered off with a thought or if it's present here with you on the mat. A lot of the activities we do in day-to-day life are yang style activities. They're fast-paced, to-do lists, running around, doing chores. It's important to make sure that we balance the yang activities of life with the stillness of yin. Making sure that left hip flexor is relaxed. Noticing if the left thigh is engaged or if it's soft. Allowing the body to soften a little deeper. Observing the body as it slowly creeps forward. Two more breaths here. In through the nose and out through the mouth. And then slowly walking the hands back towards you, lifting up through the chest, rolling the shoulders. Again, you can take the left hand to the right knee, the right hand behind the body as you lift up through the chest and twist. Shoulder blades down the back. And then inhaling back to center. You can straighten through both legs, bending and straightening through the ankles, through the knees. You can massage the hamstrings. You can also move the knees from side to side to release any tension in the hips. For our next pose, we're going to be joining the soles of the feet together, allowing the knees to fall out to the left and right sides. We don't want to pull them in really close. We want to allow them to sit out a little bit. You can gently move the knees up and down just to release through the hips, lifting up through the chest. And once again, as you exhale, walking the hands out in front, allowing the upper body to collapse over the hips. If you need to, you can extend the feet out a little bit further as you fold forward. Keeping the hands out in front. You might like to shrug the shoulders a couple of times, allowing them to drop and hang forward. You might also like to move the upper body from left to right as you slowly settle down between the hips. Dropping the chin to the chest. Taking in a few deep breaths and just allowing the upper body to surrender to gravity. Allowing it to roll forward. If you're feeling any discomfort, using your breath to help work through this. Deep breath in and out to release. Begin to notice the breath, focusing on the triangle beneath the nose, focusing on the temperature of the air. As you breathe in, feeling the expansion of the chest and feeling it contract as you exhale, allowing the upper body to drop a little deeper. If you're struggling to keep your mind away from thoughts, start to tap into your senses, noticing what you can see, noticing what you can hear, what you can smell and what you can taste, and then what you can feel. Noticing the body's points of contact with the mat or with the ground. Noticing the texture that you can feel beneath the hands. Noticing the stillness of the body. You might be able to feel your heart beating in your chest. Taking in 2 more breaths here. Observing how far the body is creeped forward. And then slowly walking the hands back towards the upper body, joining the knees together and gently moving the knees from left to right. Nice and slow. You might like to bend and straighten through the ankles and through the knees again. And then rolling the shoulders, straightening through the spine. For our next pose, we're going to be tucking our feet to one side and rolling over onto our knees and onto our hands into tabletop. So this is one of the foundational poses of yoga. We want to make sure that our hands are underneath our shoulders and our knees are underneath our hips. That our hands are shoulder width apart and our knees are hip width apart. We're going to gently move through some cat-cow poses just to warm up through the spine and stretch a little further through the hips. So with this, we breathe in, dropping the belly button down to the mat, lifting up through the crown of the head, arching through the back. As we exhale, we pull the belly button to the spine, rounding the back, tucking the tailbone, dropping the head down to the mat. And then breathing in, dropping the belly. These poses move the body with the breath. Exhale, belly button to the spine. So as we breathe in, by dropping the belly button, we allow the lungs to expand. We allow space for the air. And as we exhale, drawing the belly button to the spine, this pushes the air out of the lungs. And then we breathe in. So it's flowing through the breath with the body. One more breath here. And then coming back to a neutral spine. Stepping the right foot to the outside of the right hand. So it doesn't matter how you need to get here, just making sure that the foot is on the outside of the hands. We're going to gently lean back as we breathe in and then push forward as we breathe out. So from this side, looks like this. So breathing in, breathing out. We want to make sure here that we have enough space between our knee and our front foot. And we also want to make sure that the knee doesn't go over the front toes. So we're gently opening through the hip. As you push forward, you might like to move it from left to right. One more breath here, pushing forward. And then we're going to gently walk the right foot across to the left side of the mat. Dropping the knee. You can walk the left leg away a little bit further, lifting up through the chest. And then exhale, walking the hands out in front. So we want to keep the leg up nice and high in the front and allowing the upper body to collapse over it. If the hip's not too tight, here you can walk the hands out in front, dropping the chest down to the mat. You can allow the forehead to rest on the floor. Taking in a couple of deep breaths here. If the hip is tight, you can stay up on the elbows, palms facing the mat. shoulder blades down the back. So allowing the upper body to collapse over the hip here, searching for tension in the leg, in the hip. Checking back in with the body, observing any tension. You can scan the body from the head to the toes. Scanning for the tension. Softening the face, the forehead and the jaw. Relaxing the shoulders. Breathing through any discomfort. And then slowly walking the hands back towards you, tucking the left toes, drawing the left knee in, sliding back the right knee. You can gently move through the hips, releasing any tension. You can also straighten through the right leg, tucking the toes, pushing the heel back to stretch through the calf. You might also like to place the knee on the mat and rotate the ankle. And then we're going to switch sides. So we're going to take the left foot, stepping it to the outside of the left hand. Finding a position here that's comfortable for you. Making sure that the foot's in line with the hands. We're going to breathe in, leaning back. Exhale, pushing the hips forward. So we're just going to open through the hip. Shoulder blades down the back. Following the breath here, so inhaling, leaning back. Exhale, pushing forward. One more. And then pushing forward. You can gently move the left knee left to right, opening through the hip. And then walking the left foot over to the right side of the mat. You can walk the right leg away and then slowly the hands out in front. So taking in a few breaths here. Again, you can come up onto the elbows if the hip is tight, placing the hands on the mat, or you can walk the hands out in front, dropping the chest lower to the mat. Making sure to keep the body up on top of the foot and not falling off onto the side. Breathing in. Feeling the body as it begins to settle. Observing where your mind is. If your mind is present or if it's wandered off with a thought. Allowing your mind to drop into the body and into the moment. Breathing through any discomfort. Feeling the upper body as it creeps over the hip. Feeling the hip as it begins to open. Allowing the body to let go. Shoulder blades down the back. Taking in one more breath. And then slowly walking the hands back towards the upper body. This time you can sit down onto the left hip. You can walk the legs out in front, bending and straightening through the knees, through the ankles. You can give the shoulders a nice big roll. Massaging the legs. You might like to pull the toes back towards you. And then we're going to find the center of our mat. Taking the hands out in front, we're going to slowly uncurl the spine, laying down. Placing the hands down by our sides. We're going to walk the feet in nice and close to the sit bones, and then we're going to walk the feet out to the left and right edges of the mat. Placing the hands on the ground face down, we're going to gently turn the knees from left, back to center, and to right. So you can follow the breath here, breathing in, taking the knees to the left, breathing out, moving them over to the right. Slowly flowing with the breath, releasing through the hips, hamstrings, and lower back. And then we're going to bring them back up to center. Taking in a breath. If the lower back is tight, you can keep the knees bent and drop the knees into the center. Otherwise, you can walk the legs out until they're straight. You can take in a few breaths here and rest in Shavasana. So this is a meditative state that we usually sit in for 5 to 10 minutes after yoga. Otherwise, you can gently come up to a seated position. Thank you for joining me on the mat today for this 30-minute Yin class. Namaste.